Welcome to 908 ENT, the podcast. I'm your host, Sal and Arsonval. We're here to help you take another step towards success. Now let's get ready to learn the basics from the best. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning back in. Today our guest is Arsonval Faria. Arsonval, how are you?
Good. How's everything?
Good. So thank you for coming on today. Al is the owner of Saradoce, which is a coffee shop that specializes in Portuguese and Brazilian pastries and sandwiches. They have gluten-free options as well, and it's truly a family-owned and operated business. The name even has a family connection. But this is all public info. Anybody can Google you, Google the coffee shop. What would you really like our listeners to know about you?
Okay, in general, I guess I was born in São Paulo, Brazil. I came here when I was 11 years old in 1984. My mom is Portuguese descent. My dad was Brazilian. She also migrated at a young age to Brazil in the 50s. And I'm married. I have a daughter attending college right now and a stepson that's about to graduate Summit High School. I grew up in Newark, the Portuguese section in the Ironbound. My mom and my aunt, they started a deli bakery business in the 2000 in Newark, and we opened up our second location in 2013. I moved to Summit about 2015, and that led me to, I love the downtown in Summit, so I always wanted to open something, and it led me to open the Portuguese Brazilian restaurant, and back in 2019. And 2021, I opened up Saradoce coffee shop, also located in Summit.
Yeah, that's awesome. So just to start the show off, I always like to ask everybody, what are the three simplest things that lead to success?
Three simplest things. Well, I do believe dedication. It's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Putting in the hard work, and you'll get positive results. I always believe that. Knowledge. Learning as much as possible about your environment, business, life. Never stop learning. Always, educate yourself. Always acquire as much knowledge that you can. It will always help you. And third, passion. Loving what you do and why you do it. When you do love what you do, it makes so much easier, and you just you're a happier person. So I do believe those are the three major things that lead to success.
Yeah, 100%. Those are three good ones. And then I feel like the dedication is definitely up there as well. Yeah, so
those are my three.
Yeah, definitely. So then you touched on it in your intro, but can you share a moment or experience that inspired you to pursue your career?
I grew up, my grandfather, when he immigrated to Brazil in the 50s, the Portuguese people, in São Paulo, Brazil, they tended to gravitate towards bakeries.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's where he started working, and that's where everybody started working. Him, my grandmother, and then my mother in the beginning of her early ages. So I think, the bakery deli restaurant runs in my blood. It's my family, like I was saying, my earliest memories, it's inside restaurants, because my grandfather went to restaurants. And my uncle also, that still lives in Brazil, he actually just retired, sold his last restaurant.
Wow.
And I grew up in that environment, and I love talking to people. I love to travel. And as a Brazilian, I love drinking coffee. I think, my mother used to give me coffee in my bottle as a baby already.
Yeah.
I always joke about it, because, and so during, or my travels, I love to go into new coffee shops, and that inspires me a lot. And I always wanted, like I said, I love Summit and I love the community. And when I opened the restaurant, unfortunately it didn't really work, and I had to sell it in the end. But then I always wanted to, with the coffee shop, to inspire the Portuguese and Brazilian pastries, as well as the gluten-free stuff, because my wife is gluten-free. Mm-hmm. So that also inspired me to get stuff, because it's hard to get good gluten-free stuff.
Yeah, and, definitely.
We're always looking for it. And so that inspired me to have that too. So, because I said, the community is great, and I just want to give back, and so they could understand what the Portuguese and Brazilian, background comes from.
Yeah, that's really neat. Thank you for sharing that. So then, going off that, can you maybe share a lesson that you've learned from that's helped you to get to where you are today?
Well, they should keep following your dreams,
Hmm.
even when life throws you a curveball, or life will always knock you down, and you need to continue to get up every time. You cannot just stay down. When I opened the restaurant in 2019, no one could have predicted that or get hit with a major pandemic with
Hmm.
COVID, and that will have such a big impact in businesses and even bigger and small businesses.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, it hit us pretty hard, and I had to sell in 2023. Sorry. The lesson I learned is you should still follow your passion, and setbacks will always be there. And in the painful process of selling the restaurant, inspired me to give it all with the coffee shop, so we could still serve the great community as small business.
Yeah, definitely. And then I'm sure it was a lot having two locations though at one time, no?
Well, not only the two locations here, I still, as my mother and my aunt got older, I run the businesses in Newark with my cousins.
Hmm.
So it was four businesses
Oh, wow.
altogether at one point. So it is overwhelming at times. Let's say me personally, I love it. I love
Hmm.
to be on my toes. I love to be always in the move. So, but it does. I think the hardest with the restaurant itself was the pandemic. It was, we started off so great, and within a couple of months we had a big setback, and that kind of, we never really kind of took off after that, even when it came back and slowly. So that was hard for me. I
Hmm.
as as a business owner, and when you do something that you love, when you fail, it kind of hits hard. So for a while there, I kind of you know I was thinking like, what should I do? And then when it didn't work, and what should I have done? And I kind of pondered for a little bit. And again, that was, you can't ponder too much, because you
Hmm.
have to look forward, and because there's other things that you could do. So you learn from it, and that's life.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there were definitely a few things that you said in there, but do you have any favorite quotes, mottos, mantras that like you use personally or you try to like instill in everybody that works at the restaurants?
Uh, well, there's one from Oscar Wilde: "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." And
Yeah.
again, that's be yourself. Don't try to be someone else. Don't you need to be you. When you start trying to be someone else, it never works out. Be genuine. And there's another one too by Gandhi. It's live as if you were to die tomorrow, and learn as if you were to live forever. And that's kind of the way I live. Life is too short.
Hmm.
You need to take risks and live life to the fullest. And you shouldn't, I love to travel, and I'm the kind of person, and my wife already, she thinks too much. I'm the kind of person, if I feel like going somewhere next month, I'll just go and book it.
Hmm.
And I just tell her, we're going to go here next month. I know it's, sometimes crazy, but that's me, that you should live. And, and I think that the second one is, I like to do things right away. And the second part of that quote, you also have to keep in mind, you have to prepare yourself to live to be 100. So
Hmm.
health wise, mental wise, you need to prepare yourself to live life, but spiritually, you know, stay in touch with yourself, because I mean, of course, I want to live life, but I want it to be 100 also, but in good health. So that those two quotes always kind of gets me motivated to live my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. The first one I feel like applies to anything, life, business, sports. Like when you try to be somebody else or you try to like replicate exactly how somebody is, it doesn't work out. And that's you've seen that in
Yeah,
sports, business,
that,
everything.
yeah, that's perfect. I'm a big baseball guy, and I
Hmm.
always you read about a player has a great year, and all of a sudden, or they tweak their swing. There's another hitting coach, and they tell you to do this, and all of a sudden they kind of getting away from what they got them there,
Hmm.
themselves. they're trying to now listen to somebody else too, and then they don't have the year that they had before, kind of. So it's applicable to everything in sports as well.
Yeah, 100%. So we got our first this or that question. Everybody loves this one. Does hard work beat talent, or does talent beat hard work?
For me, my opinion, you know, hard work will always beat talent. Talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's a motivated individual is unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
They will work 150% to accomplish anything. They put their minds to it. I always use the example. It's in my opinion, of course, but I always use Cristiano Ronaldo
There you go.
because everybody always said, and I do believe myself, my opinion, that Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, the French player, they're all
Mm-hmm.
better talented than he is. They were born with that talent. But Ronaldo just built himself to be who he is today.
Mm-hmm.
Through motivation to training, he motivated himself to achieve. And in the end, he might end up having so many more goals that he achieved than a lot of those other players that have so much more talent than that he does, just because of he put the work in. He'll be the first one in training. He'll be the last one. And again, it's a sport example, but I think sports is part of life, the way you kind of live. And I always say that's a great example of how hard work always beats talent for me in the end. If you want to, it's unstoppable if you put in the work.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thank you for that. Definitely good answer.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a lot of sports fans that listen too, so that's good.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I'm a big sports guy, so it's always gonna kind of end my thoughts with sports and explaining to it.
Yeah, 100%. You touched on it a little bit earlier, but what's the best way to overcome an obstacle or setback?
Again, you can't waste your time on it.
Mm-hmm.
You need to learn from it and just move on, because if you ponder too much, again, you can't change the outcome that has happened already. So you need to learn from it and look forward. You have to love what you do, to have passion for it, and always have the motivation to follow through, make yourself better. And that's the only way that you're going to learn. You need to regroup your thoughts, ideas, focus on what worked, and learn from it.
Yeah, 100%. That's great advice. So you definitely talked about a lot of passion, but we have another this or that question. So what's more important, passion or motivation?
Both.
Mhm.
They
There you
both
go.
equally important for a person to achieve what they want. You always have to love what you do. The passion, you do it because that's your passion. So that's where the love comes from. And motivation, again, you have to motivate yourself to get where you're at, whatever your final. Everybody, it's a different finish line, but but you need to motivate yourself. You need to have goals, because if you don't, you kind of just wait for things to come your way, and that's, at least for me, it's not the way that I got what I am today, for waiting to things fall into my lap. You have to have a finish line, and when you do get to that finish line, you need to set another finish line. Always motivate yourself. You could always do better. So for me, it's both. You need to love what you do, because that will help you in so many ways, and you also need to have motivation, because it's just how you get to the finish line.
Yeah, 100%. That's a tough one because, like you said, you definitely need both. That's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So then, in the whether that's business or in the restaurant industry, how do you continue to stay like updated, continue to learn? Like, are there different like trainings, events, books, like anything that you kind of doing with you personally or with the staff?
Well, with the staff, especially with the Summit Coffee Shop, I kind of always look for barista classes that they'll keep them up to date with whatever the new innovations are.
Hmm.
because we live in a world nowadays that things change, sometimes, in a daily basis. But me myself, I mean, I love audiobooks and podcasts, so usually businesses, you know, something that motivates me or gets me to more educated in whatever I'm looking to educate myself more into. And I mean, I love to attend conventions and seminars in the field of coffee or business itself.
Hmm.
And I think my biggest motivation, though, it's always to visit new spots and get ideas and see how they are doing and how they run their business. And I just love to visit coffee shops all over the U.S. when I travel overseas, just to inspire me. I think it was just last month I was in Portugal, and I think daily I walk into like 10 different coffee shops,
Wow.
just to have coffee and to look at the atmosphere and to see the people. And that's what inspires me, because I love coffee shops.
That's awesome.
So
Like you might go in
that's,
somewhere and be like, oh wow, like that's neat. Like I got an idea just off that. Not like totally copying it, but it'll just
yeah.
like spark an idea.
Well, again, it's not copying because everything in the end, somebody has done it probably. You
Hmm.
just kind of
Yep.
do your own, you give your own spin, your own touch in the end. And I love it. Again, coffee shops for me, like Portugal, I'll walk in literally daily, walk a lot, me and my wife. I'll just see one. I'm like, oh, I love coffee on top of everything. So let's have a coffee here and then just sit there. And especially think overseas and international, it's a different vibe, it's a different atmosphere, it's a different mindset than we have here in the States.
Yeah, I'm
But I
sure.
still love the States still. They have beautiful coffee shops here everywhere I go.
Yeah, that's really
So that's
neat.
what kind of, when I continue to learn too, that is part of it, because seeing other people do it inspires me.
Yeah, that's neat. So then what would you say to somebody that's like looking to either get into the restaurant food industry or looking to make like a career switch? Like any like first steps they should do or can kind of be doing?
Well, again, it's knowledge. You need to, with anything, it will be location. I always say that's the first biggest part of whatever you want to open. You need to see where you want to open at. That's
Hmm.
a big part of it. The demographics of it, your customers, who are they going to be? Who are they? Their background, what they like, and knowledge. You need to understand what you're selling. If it's coffee in a coffee shop, you need to understand about coffee. You need to know who where the coffee beans coming from that you're selling, with the companies, how it's grinded, everything.
Hmm.
So I think it's mostly knowledge and understanding your customers.
Yeah, definitely. And then what's something that you're grateful for that's contributed to your success?
Well, I've been very lucky to being brought up by very strong women. My mother and my aunt, both immigrants to this country in the 80s. They fought hard to get where they wanted to get. Eventually it was to have bakeries and delis, but they really worked hard even before that in sewing factories, putting in 14-hour days. So they're a very strong part of how I grew up, looking at them, how hard it is and how they never gave up and they always looked forward. And this is what we want. And this is what we have to do now to get to the end point. And they have awesome business minds too. And after they did open up the bakeries in Newark, they really helped me see how a business is run and how their mindsets, how they do it with customers, with everything. And I continue to be very lucky. I married my best friend who supports me in all my crazy adventures, which
Hmm.
I'm very grateful for. Um, I'm not the easiest to deal with, and she helps me. She put me in my space sometimes to show me the whole picture. Sometimes I'm a very, I want to do this, and I kind of go running, and she kind of puts the brakes on, like, it's a good idea, so let's just think about it. So my wife is big part of my career and my success. And again, you have to surround yourself with good people. And I've always been very
Mm-hmm.
grateful and lucky to having a wonderful staff, a team that Newark or here in Summit, they're great people, and they love what they do, and that helps. I love my staff, and I wouldn't be where anybody is without the team and the staff that works with you. They're not my employees; they're my friends and they're my family. Actually, even in a bigger picture, we when we get together, and it's not only work; it's you're supposed to enjoy your environment where you work. And I think that's my biggest thing. When you do enjoy, you work better. So my staff has been a big contributor to my success. I'll never be where I am without them.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Spoken like a true leader.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as we come to a close here, what's one final piece of advice you would give our listeners to help them take another step towards success?
Just if you have a dream, a passion, just don't ever give up. Don't ever allow anyone to tell you you can't do it, because there's always going to be those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 50 years old, and throughout my life, and sometimes it's not even friends, it's even family. Oh, you can't do it. Don't ever. It's your passion. If you believe, that's all you need. You don't allow anyone to put your ideas down. If you think that's what you want to do, even if it doesn't work, you tried. I always say, I think it's harder not to try and then have that in the back of your mind than,
Mm-hmm.
you tried. It didn't succeed. Hey, there's always tomorrow. Let's continue doing it. It will succeed one day. If that's how life is. I always say in baseball, you get 3 hits out of 10, you're in the Hall of Fame. And that's 3 hits. You're gonna fail 7 times. That's you're gonna make it 3 times out of those 10s, and that will get you in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
So, not you're not gonna succeed every time, and that's where that's where you learn and put into to work. What's gonna work, and you learn. Be yourself and don't think too much either, because sometimes you think too much. It's just you ponder, and when you ponder, sometimes you make a decision and you do it, and keep learning and keep an open mind, and throughout the ups and downs, always keep a positive mindset, and always, and I say always, that's a big part.
Mm-hmm.
Smile, be happy. Be happy with anything. Wake up in the morning with a smile. Go to sleep with a smile. I think people are just always, sometimes I'm walking. I walk with my wife a lot, and we're walking, and you have to see, you smile and say good morning, and they kind of, don't say nothing. Some people just have that great smile already. You go good morning, and they good morning and smile. That's so much of a better vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Then life is too short. You just gotta enjoy it. So so if you have a passion, do it, because that's what I would tell the listeners to. Don't give up in your passion, and make it short. Life is too short, so enjoy it and do what you want to do.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that can apply to anybody. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to reach out, feel free. And then what's the best way if anybody wants to connect with you? Would it be social media, website, LinkedIn?
Uh, I'm in all of those, but the website has a thing that you click that you could get in touch with me. It would be the coffee shop, but it would also be me. I also run the Instagram page, so if you send a message through there, I'll also answer it, and that's it. Or so nowadays, so easy to get in touch with.
Yeah, definitely. And then I'll put those links in the show notes so anybody can get them.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you, Alice. It's been great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been wonderful. My first podcast, so I really enjoyed it. You're doing
That's
great work.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.